Hello. Since nobody is here, I'm just going to ramble on the stuff I've been suggesting we should change. So let me share my screen. Okay, and then let's see here. Oh, you'll have to excuse my voice. I'm not feeling too well. But okay, I suppose you can see this stuff. And actually going through it, I actually think our current strategy isn't that bad. Anyways, so the thing is, why do we do what we do now? And as I understand it, there's like one big challenge, and that is if, for example, Cerebral is at 1.00, and then we have like a project with Cerebral, and the project also has Cerebral HTTP, which is at 1.00 as well, and has a dependency to Cerebral, like this kind of dependency. And this kind of dependency related to updating it allows any of these two versions, like patch and miner, to update, though it will not update if this one changes. I think I'm pretty certain. So what happens is that, okay, we have a breaking change in Cerebral and we bump it to 2.0.0, and the user installs the new Cerebral as latest. So what happens? Well, now the dependency Cerebral HTTP has to Cerebral is invalid. And there's no way for the user to actually use HTTP now, because we have to make the HTTP package actually allow a dependency to Cerebral 2.0.0. So we kind of have to change from this to this one. And that means we actually have to release a new version of Cerebral HTTP. And what kind of version change is that? Would that be 1.0.1, which just includes the bumping of the Cerebral dependency to this? The problem doing that is that if the user would, for some reason, update Cerebral HTTP directly, like with an npm update, it would actually get this package because it's a patch. And now it would depend on Cerebral 2.0.0, but the user doesn't have Cerebral 2.0.0. So it just causes a lot of problems and confusion. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Matthias. I'm just, I'm actually just, let me see. I'm just talking to myself, just going through the notes.
Okay, you want me to come back later?
Yeah, I think I can just read on. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I
cool.
Come back, yeah, sorry.
No worries. Okay, yeah, so I hope you see the issue here that especially when we have a breaking change, which is a major bump, it can cause all sorts of problems. So what we do with our current strategy is to, first of all, everything is a dependency. So Cerebral has a dependency, like in package.json, to function tree. And all the add-ons and views has an actual dependency to Cerebral. So the thing is that if a dependency has a version bump, for example, if function tree has a version bump, so will Cerebral, because Cerebral depends on function tree. And the same is for like an add-on or a view. Since Cerebral now gets a bump, they will also get a bump. So function tree can actually propagate a bump, like for example, a patch, to all the packages in the monorepo. And if, for example, we have like what's it called, a minor change to Cerebral, but a patch change on an add-on, the add-on will get also a minor bump. That's the way it works now. I hope that made sense. Like, maybe I can summarize it. If Cerebral has a bump from 1.0.0 to 1.1.0, and then HTTP is 1.0.0 and wants to go to 0.1, it will actually go to 1.1.0 as well, because it depends on Cerebral. Cool. The cool thing is that when we have breaking dependencies, we don't have to think about it, because when we have a breaking dependency, it will just bump everything as breaking, even if it doesn't affect the package. It just makes sure that everything's like, when the user actually wants to move to the new versions, they can't accidentally do it. They actually have to, by making every package in the monorepo, they have to go explicitly and grab the latest when they are moving to breaking new versions of Cerebral. As we can see here, like the user experience. So let's say the user has Cerebral and HTTP installed. Oops, this is wrong. If there's a patch to Cerebral or HTTP, they can just run npm update. And because the HTTP has like a tilde dependency on Cerebral, Cerebral can update its patch and minor version. And we can just run npm update. That's a good user experience. The same is for minor, which is like a feature. They can still just run npm update on any add-ons or, yeah. So basically, when we don't have a breaking change, users can just run npm update and they will get all the latest stuff, even for other packages not related to Cerebral, which is a good thing, I think. But if we have a breaking change, the user has to explicitly install the latest of each of the packages they are using in their project. And I think also this is a good thing. It's just that we don't document it, which is why I have this note here, that I think we should give the install instructions for every release. So basically, we just check if there's a breaking change. If there's not a breaking change, we just tell the users to get to this version, do an npm update. Or if there is breaking stuff there, then we give this other install instruction. Yeah, and we should probably do it by each package. Yeah, exactly. So if, for example, HTTP, like the table, you know, the table of version updates. I don't want to draw it up here, but yeah, it could be a new column which has like install instructions. So for example, if Cerebral had like a patch, like a bug fix, that would be enough to do npm update. But if the same release had a breaking on HTTP, then it would say npm install Cerebral HTTP at latest. Or maybe it's better to just have this as the installation instruction. So whenever we have a new release, this is the install instruction. And we just say that, okay, do this for all the packages you use from Cerebral. I don't know. And I wanted to change these around. Let's see. Okay, so I've been thinking about like, how can we make this easier for the user? Because it is a little bit confusing now that we are bumping packages without them having any change to them, because it's like a dependency bump. So what I suggest is that, first of all, we need to have some instructions on how to actually install the updated packages. And we can do that per package, or we can just have like, this is the safest way to move on to the next version, which is basically this one. Yeah, and we should also, in that, I didn't note that here, but in the update table, add is dependency bump. so that we actually identify what version bumps are because of a dependency and what are because of a commit. That should be part of the release notes, so people understand that, like, even if we just have like a patch fix in Cerebral, like all the other packages update. So why do they do that? We should be explicit about that. Or we could like do something completely different. For example, we could look at Cerebral and function tree as two separate projects. And then we could have, but the add-ons and the views are like the Angular packages. So those have a different strategy, meaning that we just keep everything in sync. So whenever we do a release, like a Cerebral release, not a function tree release, but like a Cerebral release, we give that a version number, and that version number we put on everything. And that makes it super easy. Like you can just go to like it becomes a snapshot. So it doesn't matter at what point in time. You can just say, I want to go to Cerebral version 4, and all packages using 4.0.0.0 will be compatible. And it's very easy to reason about packages that way. I think that's my opinion. But yeah, function tree doesn't fit into this because it's a project that lives on its own. So we should handle that differently. But like Cerebral and the add-ons and the views should just be the same version all over. It doesn't matter if like user agent has a bug fix. It just means every package will like get a patch bump because of that change. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you, and I can understand that. But yeah, it's just to give a suggestion. Okay, cool. So this is just my summary, and we have to talk more about this, of course. Let's see, stop sharing. But yeah, I hope this gets the discussion going. If this makes sense and we just need to comment a little bit in Discord, that's perfect. If not, we should just take this in and make up some thoughts on it, and then we can have another hangout and talk more about it. Okay, thanks.